Hi everyone, and welcome to our Benchmark 2 review. So we've got to review most of Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 10. Okay, but we're actually ended at the same place. We've missed some things that I normally do during normal years, but we ended content-wise in the right spot, which is awesome. So there shouldn't be any questions that you haven't learned about yet on this test, which I like. All right, so part of our Chapter 1 review, this was ratios and proportions. I can do this. Okay, so remember, we talked about being proportional. Okay, remember being proportional from a table, because we'll do from a graph in a minute. From a table means you make fractions, make ratios. And they all reduce to the same fraction or decimal. They'll reduce down to the same fraction or decimal if you're changing them to a decimal. And the pattern works backwards to include 0, 0. Okay, so let's do an example of that. We have a boat rental place. We all went to, Lake Powell, sure. And it costs $25 per hour to rent a boat plus a $12 gas fee. Okay, and so we want to know if this is a proportional relationship or not a proportional relationship. We can make a chart. So how long we rent the thing and how much it costs. For 1 hour is $25 plus the $12. And so that's $37. For 2 hours, it's $62. For 3. So this is 3 times 25, which is 75 plus the $12 is 87. And 4 is 112. Okay, now if we look at it this way, 2 over 62 is going to reduce down to, this is already a unit rate, right? Because we already have 1 in it. But this one reduces down to, if we divide both of those by 2, that's 1 over 31. Those are not the same. And if we divide this, let's see if 87 is even divisible by 3. 3 goes into 8 2 times with 2 tests left over. So that's 1 over 29. So it keeps going down. So this is not proportional. Just kidding. Not proportional. Okay. Remember proportional for graph. Two things, straight line through the point 0, 0. So you can totally have a straight line, but if it doesn't go through 0, 0, not proportional. It has to be a straight line through the point 0, 0. Okay? So that's super easy when you look at graphs. Let's see. After that, we solved, we'll call those number 2. Number 3, we solved proportional relationships, and this is our cross multiplying, and we've practiced this quite a bit since, so hopefully you're still doing all right on this. So cross multiplying, so if we have 15 over 6 equals 10 over x. And so we multiply the two numbers that are diagonal from each other. So we get 60 divided by 15. And that means x equals 4, if I'm not mistaken. I will check on the calculator just to make sure I'm not making things up. Yep, I'm right, because I'm a genius. Cool. Alrighty, so then the next bits were, remember there was 3 sections where we calculated the same thing, but we called it 3 different things? Yeah, that stuff, okay? And mostly we're just going to call it constant rate of change. Which is the same thing as slope. I don't think there's any direct variation questions on the test. Okay, constant rate of change, which is the same thing as slope. So I'm going to just give the slope definition because that's the one you're going to hear in the future. So remember slope, which is m equals the change in y over the change in x, which is the same thing as the rise over the run. Okay, so when you're looking at a graph, it's to get from one point to the next point, how far to go up, that's your change in y, over how far to go over to get to the next point. Okay, and we can do that on a table, we can do it on a graph, we can do it with just points. So let's practice each of those. So if we have a table, 1, 2, 3, those are our x and our y's, 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, and this is when we're finding the difference. So remember, to get from here to here was 1, to get from here to here was 1, 1. To get from here to here is 6, here to here, 6, here to here is 6. So it's the change in y, which is 6 over the change in x, which is 1. Okay, to do that with a graph or just points, I'll have a little graph here. Try to make this as accurate as possible. So I've got the point over 2 up 1, and it does go through 0, and then over 4 up 2, over 6 up 3. Okay? So we can count this. We can just count it. So from this point to that point, we go up 1. Pencil's being awesome. We go up 1 and over 2. So the slope is going to be 1 over 2. If we want to do it mathematically, it works again. We go up 1 and over 2. And it worked over here too. We went up 1 and over 2. Points-wise, let's say this point, it's the point 2, 1. And this point is the point 4, 2. We do the change in y, so 2 minus 1 over the change in x, which is 4 minus 2. Either way, we end up with 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. Slope. There we go. And if you don't remember that, you're welcome to go back and look at the slope sections on Canvas. All right, next up is chapter 3. And that was all about percents. Doesn't it feel like we just did that? So let's just practice some of our percents things. Remember, our percent proportion is the part over the whole equals the percent over 100. Okay, and I like to use that one the best. You can use the percent equation if you want, which is the part equals the percent times the whole. Okay, so you can use that as well. All right, so if we have what percent of 50 is 60. So remember, this is, if we use the percent equation here, we're looking for, remember the percent and the whole go together. So percent, 50 is our whole, 60 is our part. If we have the part and the whole, we can just divide them. So 50, I don't know where I went right, 50 over 60, and we just do that division, and that equals 83.3%. Really, it's 0.83 repeating, and then I changed it to a percent. Okay, let's try this again. What number is 15% of 60? Okay, so this, again, we're looking at, if we fill in our percent equation here, what number we're solving for the part. We have the percent and the whole, which means we can just do this like normal solving for a percent. So you change the percent to a decimal, 0.15 times 60. 0.15 times 60. And that is, I hit divide. It's funny how that makes a difference. 0.15 times 60, and it comes out to be 9. That feels a little bit better than 0.0025. Alrighty, so 9 is 15% of 60. Cool. Ooh, now this is interesting. 9, I chose interesting problems, is 12% of what number? Okay, so this time we've got the part and we've got the percent. We're solving for the whole. And from the problem we just did, 12% is just a little bit less than 15%. So we know we're looking for a number kind of near 60. So to do this, we can do the percent proportion if you want. And so we've got the part, which is 9, and the percent, which is 12. And we're solving for the whole. So we have 900 divided by 12, which is 75, which is just a little bit past 60. So there you go. Ta-da! All right, so after just using those things, we talked about percent of change. Okay, and remember that's, you find the difference or subtract, and then you divide by the original. Okay, so for example, we have 100 of something, and that changes to 140 of something. And so we find the difference. If we subtract them, it comes out to be 40. And we divide by the original, which is 100. Now, mathematically, this is pretty easy. 40 over 100 is 0.4 or 40%. Okay, didn't even need a calculator for that one. Woohoo. All right. Page 2, here we go. All right, next up, we dealt with sales tax tip and markup. And so that's taking a percent and then adding it to get the total. Okay, so we want total cost. If we had dinner for $43 and we want to pay an 18% gratuity, which is our fancy word for tip. So basically, we just need to find out what 18% of 43 is and then add that in. So 43 times 0.18. 43 times 0.18 is 7.74. So that's how much we want to pay in tip. And we want to add that to the $43. And we will be paying $50.74. Now, if you like doing it the other way, where you add before we take the percent, then we could just do 118% of 43. So that would be 1.18 times 43. And that should come out to be the same 50.74. Yep, came out to be the same. If that way doesn't make sense to you, don't stress out about it. But I know there's some people that actually works out for them well. I like it myself. Okay. And then discount. Same idea. We just take the percent and then we subtract it off. Okay, so let's say we're buying a sweater that's normally $40. And it's at a 33% discount. Okay, so again, two ways to do it. We can take 33% of the 40. This is just the normal way, and this is a great way if you want to know just how much you're going to save. So that would be 0.33 times 40, which gives us $13.20. That's how much we save. So to find out how much we pay, we have to subtract that from 40. So 40 minus 13.20. And let me make sure I do this right. $26.8 is the new cost of the sweater. So $26.80. I'll fix that so it looks better. Sorry about that. $26.80. Okay. The other way we can do it is if it's 33% off, we can do 100% minus 33%, which gives us, should be 67. Good thing I checked. So 67% is how much we're paying. Okay. So really we want to take 67% of 40. So 0.67 times 40. 0.67 times 40 and 26.80. Okay. Works both ways. If one way is confusing, don't worry about it. Just do the other way. Okay. Next up is simple interest. Simple interest. Remember, that's our PERT formula. So that's, I can do this. Interest equals principal times the rate times the time in years. Okay, so let's say we have a savings account. We're going to put 1,500 monies into it, and it's got a 4.25% interest rate, and we're going to leave it there for 4 years. Okay, so we just basically multiply all these guys together, remembering to change the percent to a decimal. So 1,500 times 0.0425 times 4. It's in years, so we don't have to stress about that. If it wasn't in years, we'd have to divide it by 12 to make it into years. 425 times 4. And what we make in interest is $255. Not a whole lot to make in, 4 years, but that's fine. It's kind of free money, right? Right. Okay, so that's it for the stuff from previous chapters. Now, the stuff from the statistics chapter that we've just done, just remember we predicted, we learned about biased and unbiased. We talked about misleading graphs and stats. We selected a display. And we compared populations. Okay, so if any of those things don't feel super secure to you, or you have had a hard time with the quizzes last week, then I would recommend taking some time to go back to these sections and review over the lesson videos or looking at the notes, any of that stuff. Feel free to use your notes while you're working on this review assignment, and thanks, bye.